Do you love movies? So do I. What's up, y'all? It's KB, and I love movies, inviting you to listen to The Conversation, a film podcast where passion meets perspective and opinion. From the old school to the new, I invite a guest on to discuss the movies that thrill us, challenge us, break our hearts, or even blow our minds. There's always new episodes dropping wherever you get your podcasts. So join the conversation. We don't just watch movies. We love talking about them too. The Conversation with KB Loves Movies, a part of Someone's Favorite Productions podcast network.
Are you a film fan who loves the ultimate home video experience? Look no further than The Disconnected. Your host, Ryan Verrill, is your go-to source for the latest and most accurate information on home video releases, exclusive interviews with industry insiders and filmmakers, and has established a thriving community where every film and physical media enthusiast feels welcome. From hidden gems to blockbuster hits, The Disconnected brings you insider knowledge and a welcoming space to share your love of cinema. Watch every Thursday night at 9:30 Eastern, 6:30 Pacific for the live announcements show and follow The Disconnected on social media to stay updated. Subscribe to The Disconnected on YouTube or on the podcast provider of your choice and dive into a world where every movie night is an adventure.
You just made a yummy sound, so I thought you'd like the dessert.
Welcome to Wake Up Heavy, the world's greatest horror movie podcast.
Hello and welcome to Wake Up Heavy, Recollections of Horror. This is Mark Bagley, your host, and this is my November watch episode. And unfortunately, no Cleo this time. She declined my offer to record. We didn't watch a whole bunch, although we did watch two really cool movies that I wanted to talk with her about, but she said we'll get around to those eventually. I'm going to keep this as brief as possible because I've got a lot of news to spill at the end of the episode. So for family watches this month, not a whole lot, or last month I should say. That was because of Thanksgiving. We have it at our house, and my wife and I were both really busy cleaning the house and the yard, which we realized we really hadn't done since the beginning of the pandemic. Just didn't have it in us. I did a ton of yard work, trimming tree branches that hadn't been trimmed in a long time. My wife cleaned the tile and the grout in our house for the first time in years. I mean, we cleaned the tile, but the grout had not been cleaned, I think, since we moved in 15 years ago. And then I was assembling furniture that my wife had purchased mainly for our kitchen to get it up to speed. So all kinds of things going on, plus all the cooking and the buying and the shopping and whatever. So most of these family watches are us all together. We caught the new Enola Holmes 2, those cute little movies with What's-Her-Face from Stranger Things on Netflix. Pretty fun. That was a new watch for all of us. This next one is something we've watched together a handful of times over the years, The Princess Bride. Classic.
Inconceivable!
We watched another new watch, the new Lindsay Lohan Christmas movie on Netflix, and boy oh boy is it something, and that's all I'm going to say about that. Pretty used to the cheesiness of these movies we watch. They're on in the background constantly, almost all year long now. They play them all the fucking time on Hallmark. Seen a ton of them, totally formulaic, usually pretty poorly acted. This is no different, but kind of a fun train wreck to watch. And then we watched another new holiday movie on Apple Plus with Will Ferrell and Ryan Reynolds called Spirited, one of a bajillion riffs on A Christmas Carol. I actually enjoyed it a little bit more than I was expecting to. I like both of those guys for the most part. This movie is over 2 hours long, so it's a lot of them doing pretty much their shticks that they're known for throughout. Pretty cute, though. It's a musical. The songs were actually very good. We had fun. Is it going to become an annual tradition? Probably not. But something that we are trying to make a family tradition, or annual tradition, and a family tradition, is our viewing of Krampus. And this time we roped my wife into watching it. She hadn't seen it before. I think Cleo and I really love it. I believe my wife dug it. Shoot, we may watch that again before Christmas comes. These next three are things that I watched just with Cleo, and I made her watch Airplane. I had watched it the month before in prep for this new show that I'm doing, and I really wanted Cleo to watch them, to watch it, and to watch Police Squad episodes. So we've been doing that. I gotta say, although she said, "Oh my God, that was so stupid," about 50 times during the movie, she was laughing throughout.
Looks like I picked the wrong week to quit sniffing glue.
More on that new project at the end of this episode. That's one of the news bits that I have. One morning before taking Cleo to school, we caught about 10 or 15 minutes of Jean Cocteau's Beauty and the Beast on TCM. I'm ashamed to say I have not seen this movie before. Don't know why I've avoided it. I haven't avoided it. I just, for some reason, haven't gotten around to it. So I was watching it, and then Cleo sat down and caught a little bit of it. And I said, you know what? This is something that we need to fully watch next week when your school is out. And so that was the big plan. And we ended up doing that Monday of first day of vacation for her. And man, oh man, what a movie. I mean, I know I'm not spilling any big news here. I had no idea just how charming and poetic and interesting and beautiful and gorgeous it was. So we got a big kick out of that. In my mind, as I was watching it, even those first 15 or so minutes that first time, it just made me think, there were some shots that made me think of Eraserhead. And that's the other thing I keep threatening Cleo with. You need to watch that finally with me. She's caught little bits and pieces over the years, little scenes when I've been watching it by myself. These two movies are the ones that I really wanted to talk with her about. And she said, Eraserhead, definitely we need to talk about at some point. So maybe I'll do a little addendum to that really weird Eraserhead episode that I did early on in the show's history with Mike White.
Sure, just cut them up like regular chickens.
Other than Eraserhead with her, I watched it on my own as well. I believe I watched it last month, so I won't throw any clips in here. A lot of times when I watch it, I throw on the Eraserhead stories that come with that disc and come with the Criterion disc that's out now. Love it. Just love listening to David Lynch talk about that time. And then that made me think of the documentary David Lynch, The Art Life, which I had seen a couple years ago, really enjoyed. And it's him talking about his childhood and then growing up, going to art school, going to the AFI and all of that. It really pretty much stops after Eraserhead. So I don't know if there's plans to do another one, but it's fascinating to watch that, hear his stories, and see exactly how much of his life is in Eraserhead. Next rewatch for me, I'm not sure why. I think probably Twitter, seeing something about Jack Nicholson or I don't know what, made me think about watching a Jack Nicholson movie. I didn't want to watch something that I've watched a million times. So I picked The Last Detail, the Hal Ashby film with Jack Nicholson and Randy Quaid, mainly because I didn't remember much about my last watch, which was probably only a few years ago. But it's one of those fun road trip, slice of life 70s films. Hal Ashby is not someone that I know a lot about or have watched a bunch of his movies. Of the ones that I've seen, I have enjoyed all of them. And there'll be more Ashby in a minute here. Caught Young Frankenstein for the millionth time, watched it.
You just made a yummy sound, so I thought you'd like the dessert.
I'm not going to get into that. I watched Prince of Darkness, John Carpenter's film, late 80s film. This is another one that I haven't watched very often, and it's really strange. It's pretty interesting. It's in the same vein to me as They Live as far as time period and ideas and things. They're part of that Apocalypse trilogy. And yet it really reminded me of The Thing. We have the same sort of situation with all these people in one spot being basically attacked by an unknown force of some kind. You could go back to Assault on Precinct 13 and say the same thing. A lot of these hostage type situations. And then speaking of Hal Ashby, I got Harold and Maude again and watched that because it's just such a charming damn movie.
Well, if you want to sing out, sing out. And if you want to be free, be free.
I had another bachelor weekend to myself. Last one I had was in April when my wife and daughter finally got to go see Billie Eilish. And this time they went to Pasadena to do some shopping and some other things. That's where some of the furniture, IKEA furniture that I assembled with the help of Cleo and other things for that. So I was on my own from Friday afternoon until Sunday afternoon. And I thought, man, oh man, I'm going to squeeze in as many fucking movies as I can. Before my wife even left, after I had gotten home from taking Cleo to school, I caught this film Ariel on TCM from Aki Kaurismäki. And this is another big blind spot for me. He's kind of the Finnish Jim Jarmusch. They always share the same space in my head. And they had important movies of their careers come out around the same time. And the conversation with one usually led to the other. And I believe the only one I've seen of Kaurismäki's is Leningrad Cowboys Go America, way, way back in the early 90s. I remember nothing about it, but this was more along the lines of an early Wim Wenders film in a way. Slice of life, one poor sap's kind of lowly life, and really, really enjoyed it. There was one guy in it, not the lead, but another actor, and I thought, I know that guy from somewhere. Realized that he was in Jarmusch's Night on Earth, which we will get to in a second. Once I was on my own, I felt like, okay, I'm probably not going to watch a whole bunch of new stuff. These weekends usually end up being comfort movie watches for me. Watch The Taking of Pelham 123, fucking all-time classic banger of a film with wonderful Walter Matthau performance.
Well, it's The Taking of the Pelham 123.
Well, tell him to shut up and get off the air and eat some more lines off from here.
Then I caught on TCM The Thing from Another World, which I don't think I have watched since the late 80s. Watched Carpenter's A Thing all the time. I remember thinking back then, this is super cheesy, but I watched it this time to get more of the socio-political aspects of it, if you can believe that, and really enjoyed it much, much more. I started a little mini Coen Brothers marathon and watched Inside Llewyn Davis, which I remember hearing bad things about when it first came out, mostly in regard to the character of Llewyn Davis himself as being not very likable, which is true. I'm not a big fan of unlikable protagonists, but I get it with this guy for some reason. I really enjoy this somewhat lambasted Coen Brothers movie. It's another riff on The Odyssey. I don't know how many times they're going to do that, but I like that because it becomes part road movie. The music in it is great. That fucking spaceship song they do is amazing.
Powder. With a healthy libido, you lose her boat. Powder. If you make her a widow, and who will play catch out in the back with our kiddo? Please, Mr. Kennedy.
And then that led me to watch No Country for Old Men, which I think is one of their finest. So I watched Night on Earth because of that connection with Ariel and that Finnish actor. Not my favorite Jarmusch. I think I've only seen this once before. I started losing interest. After this, I saw this in the theater and then Dead Man I tried to watch on video, and it was like, he's kind of losing his touch for me. Again, enjoyed it quite a bit more this time.
And afloat my chances on the tide, back in the good old world.
That somehow, and I'm not really sure now, I know there was something in Night on Earth that made me think of Dario Argento, and I couldn't tell you what it is right now. Maybe it's just because one part takes place in Italy. And I thought, okay, I'm going to watch some underwatched, for me, Argento. So I started with the Stendhal Syndrome that stars his daughter, Asia. And as I was watching it, I thought, wait a minute, have I even seen this before? So this is sort of a rewatch, quite possibly new to me film. Not a lot was ringing bells in my head. And I certainly didn't remember the really cheesy CGI that's in it. It was a new thing at the time, and I don't think we were going for ultra realism or even had that capability, but some of it was okay, but a lot of it was really bad. And then I watched Opera, which I enjoy, but I've only seen maybe 3 times prior. This is a film that I could have seen when I was in London. I remember seeing the ads for it for all the different theaters. For some reason, didn't go see it. I don't know why, because I was a fan at the time. Next, it was time for some downer movies. And this is sort of thanks to Anthony King from Cult Movies Podcast. He does his Sad Vember watches and talks about this movie quite a bit. And it's something that I used to watch all the time and remember really liking, but it's been a lot of years. So I watched Ang Lee's The Ice Storm. Great cast. Christina Ricci, Elijah Wood, Kevin Kline, Sigourney Weaver. All these really great people. It's this bummer mid-late 70s film where Elijah Wood meets a horrible, sad end. Still really, really enjoy it. That one I'll probably be watching more regularly from now on. And then since Katie Holmes and Tobey Maguire, who I didn't mention, are in that made me think of Wonder Boys.
Wonder Boy, life's just begun.
Another fantastic movie. Maybe not so much a downer, although kind of a little bit. There's some pathos in there that I think my wife and I watched a number of times back when it came out. And then the last movie, and I think this was Sunday morning, shortly before they would be on their way home, I rewatched Magic with Anthony Hopkins. If you have followed this show from the beginning, you know that trailer just absolutely destroyed me as a kid, as it did many others. It got pulled eventually because so many parents complained. Horrifying trailer. When I first saw it in the early 80s, I was like, oh, this isn't that scary. But scary is subjective, but it's more of a psychological thriller. This guy's breakdown. It still really has some creepy moments. I think this time watching it, I really picked up on those even more. It's such a good Anthony Hopkins performance.
Abracadabra, I sit on his knee. Presto, change-o, and now he is me. Hocus pocus, we take her to bed. Magic is free. We're dead.
Okay, so along with Beauty and the Beast, possibly the Stendhal Syndrome, the only other... Oh, and those cheesy-ass Christmas movies and Enola Holmes. My other first-time watches included The Black Vampire, and this is, I believe, one of those long-lost films, or had been lost for a long time, and was finally found and restored. It's a reworking of Fritz Lang's M, which is a favorite of mine, but it hails from Argentina. really, really enjoyed this. I hope TCM shows us some more, because I am definitely going to watch it again. On Shudder, one of the House of Psychotic Women picks that they have is a movie that I have been trying to see for a long time called Footprints. It's also called Footprints on the Moon or La Orme. Really strange giallo. Is it a giallo? I don't know. Really strange psychological hysterical woman film where this gal has lost 2 or 3 days of her life. She doesn't remember things. And then it almost gets into like a double type thing where everybody recognizes her and says, oh, you've been in this town before, like last week or whatever. And she has no recollection of it. And it was really, really fascinating. Check that one out. I actually think it's also on Tubi right now. I watched Pearl, the prequel to X, these new Ty West movies. It was all right. It was another one of those that was overhyped for me. Not bad, but I barely remember any of it at this point. And it's only been like a month since I watched it. The one new movie that I did enjoy, and I guess some people really don't, I saw a lot of good stuff, and then after a while, once all that clears out, then everybody starts with the negative reviews, is Smile with, what's her name? Kevin Bacon and Kira Sedgwick's daughter, Sosie Bacon. I'm not sure if that's how you pronounce it. And Kyle Gallner, who's in a ton of genre stuff right now. It's very much like The Ring. It's very much like It Follows. But I'm not really sure what it was about this, though, that also almost felt like one of those Lifetime movies turned into a horror movie. There was a lot of creepy imagery, and it didn't do the loud, bombastic stuff. It allowed itself to be slow and quiet and creepy. Again, another sort of hysterical woman type film where nobody believes this gal. I'm so like, what? I've said that like twice now. No one believes her story, and she didn't believe the story when it was told to her. So it has that aspect of that, as well as the passing along of this curse. One night, I happened to catch Starship Troopers on cable, and yes, this is a movie that I have never seen before. I like a lot of Paul Verhoeven movies, especially his 80s films like RoboCop, etc. Again, don't know why, just didn't have any interest. Saw something about it recently and it happened to be on, so I watched it, and I was really blown away by the special effects in this, especially at that time, and kept thinking to myself, these are as good as a lot of the Marvel movies effects right now, if not better in many places. Great satire of fascism and nationalism, pretty gory. The cast, there's some standouts in there, but like the younger part of the cast, Casper Van Dien and some of those folks, they're serviceable, but I kind of had a chuckle every now and then at some of their line deliveries. My final new watch was The Man in the White Suit. This is an Ealing Studios film, which I'm slowly learning about, starring Alec Guinness from 1951, and I watched this for an episode of The Projection Booth, which I believe will be out in January. Keep your eyes peeled for that. My faves from last month: Beauty and the Beast, for sure, The Black Vampire, Footprints, and The Man in the White Suit. That came to 12 new watches out of 32 or 33 watches overall. I think I watched 12 movies during my bachelor weekend. Should have squeezed in more, but you got to make time to eat and take the dog out and do all this other adult stuff, plus put together furniture. Damn, should have gotten up to 20. Oh well. Okay, on to the news portion. I'm not sure if I mentioned it on the last episode about the Police Squad limited series podcast that I am doing with Mike White and Chris Stashu. That will be coming out the first week of January, and it will run for 10 episodes. We're starting with the movie Airplane because that is where ZAZ and Leslie Nielsen hooked up and then continued their relationship for years, for decades. So that should come out that first Wednesday of January. I will play the teaser that I created for that at the end here. And then also starting in January is a new monthly podcast that I will be hosting with my longtime friend, Ronald Zurigian. He's been on the show in the past where we talked about Howling and Suspiria. And this is a pop culture podcast, for lack of a better word, but it's more about these persistent and pervasive obsessions and passions and hobbies that we have had since we were kids. We are talking about all kinds of things, some of which you've probably heard me talk about on this show in the past, but we'll get into more detail. And then Ronnie, of course, will be sharing his. And we'll probably get into a lot of stuff about Fresno and the surrounding area and how that shaped us. And so pop culture with, I don't know, a human touch. But I'll also play the teaser for that at the end here. Everything will be available on weirdingwaymedia.com. I will, of course, share everything on my social media pages and my link tree when they come out. That is also why I haven't done an in-depth episode for Wake Up Heavy in a while. Have one planned also for January, but I will wait until I do December's watch list episode and or end of the year episode to clue you in on that. All right, thank you so much for listening. Have a wonderful holiday season. I won't be talking to you until Christmas and Hanukkah and Kwanzaa and everything else are over with. So enjoy, stay safe, be smart, stay healthy, and enjoy these teasers for those upcoming shows. Coming soon from WeirdingWayMedia.com, a new limited series podcast featuring Mike White from the Projection Booth, Chris Stashew from the Culture Cast, and me, Mark Begley from Wake Up Heavy Recollections of Horror. We will be cracking open the seal from the files of Police Squad in color in this 10-episode series starting January 2023. Find it on WeirdingWayMedia.com. Coming soon from WeirdingWayMedia.com, Cambridge and Wishon, a new pop culture podcast featuring Ronald Zurigian, aka Skelevator, and me, Mark Begley, the host of Wake Up Heavy Recollections of Horror. This monthly show will feature our obsessions, passions, and hobbies from childhood to the present, starting January 2023 on WeirdingWayMedia.com. Please check it out.
Anything can happen when you wake up heavy. Ho, 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 ho.
Hello, filthy movie lovers. My name is Gentry Austin.
And I'm Casey Scott.
And we're the hosts of the Sin Syndicate, film podcast for something weirdos, anti-criterion bros, and Joseph Sarno aficionados. Join us semi-weekly as we peer into the adults-only theaters and sticky-floored cinemas of the golden age of sexploitation, when the morals were loose, the laws were murky, and the intercourse was all simulated. Find us now on the Someone's Favorite Productions podcast network.